So welcome to a very fast-paced episode of the Car and Bike Show. I'm Siddharth Vinayak Parthankar and I'm quite literally going to let my hair down on today's show. You will soon find out why. Fast cars, yes. Track time, yes. And we will start with something that's been creating waves ever since it was first shown at the Auto Expo, the very hot Kia Stinger GT. The Kia Stinger was a shock and surprise to pretty much everyone when the car first came to light in early 2017. The mid-size sports sedan has been designed to establish Kia's prowess and potential by squarely taking aim at the performance set from Germany. So it's not surprising that its lead designer and engineer are German. The latter is Albert Biermann, former deputy at BMW's M division, and that perhaps tells you why this car is a rear-wheel drive, and that's Kia's very first rear-wheel drive. Yes, all of this becomes academic since there are no realistic plans for the car to come here, but it creates a tantalizing flagship for the brand globally for sure, and given its promise of performance, I figured it's best to test it on the road and also on the track. Adding to my resolve was the fact that I had the range-topping GT V6 petrol model with me. So it's not just a sedan, it's not just a sports sedan, it's also not just a flagship sedan. So now that you do know what the Stinger is all about, I had to bring it to what's the ideal location to really test it. And in India, the best place to do that is the BIC, the Buddh International Circuit. I've got the track at my disposal. I've got the car. Here I go. I haven't the foggiest why Kia chose to ship one to India in white. I mean, they showed us a red and a white at the Auto Expo. They could have held on to the high chroma red or brought in a micro blue pearl. The red or the blue would have been my choice. Oh well, what can I say? Now, I had already enjoyed driving it in traffic, so it was time for some real fun. Yes, even though it's a boring white. Kia has three engine options. There's a 2.2-litre CRDI diesel as well. The one I'm told not so hot, but there's the 2-litre petrol, and there's of course the 3.3-litre petrol V6 as well, car I'm driving today. And on all three, you can pay more and have the optional all-wheel drive system thrown in as well. But all three of them use the same 8-speed automatic gearbox. The numbers sound good, since the 3.3-litre twin-turbo Lambda 2 engine puts out 365 bhp and a massive 510 Nm of peak torque. And that torque comes in as low as 1300 RPM. The transmission is that aforementioned 8-speed automatic. Now the car is quick and you get that sense straight away from it. Of course, I didn't need to come here to the track to tell you that. I've already experienced that out on the open road, but on the track, uninhibited, is where you really get a sense of that claim, 0 to 100 in 4.7 seconds. Wow! For a car that's 4,830 millimeters long, the chassis is well tuned to give you a sense of a much shorter car. The chassis balance is what grabs you about the Stinger, and also its very responsive and precise steering. Even before I've turned traction control off, I have to say the car is quite happy to have its rear hang out. It's a lot of fun, and I would not have experienced this if I hadn't come out here on the track. I think it really comes alive on the track. No better place than here, because of course after the recent refurbishment as well, the track here is fantastic. It gives you a great sense of the dynamism that this car is capable of. And I have to say that, yeah, I've said this before, can't wait to see what comes next from Kia, because this is a great first step.
The car cruises with ease and gets to triple digits very easily too. The Stinger GT takes corners with surprising precision, though it can feel a bit floaty over undulations. The V6 doesn't scream the delicious note that you get from the AMGs, but will certainly stay on par with the Audi S5's V6.
So could the engine have been more powerful, more potent? Of course, but then, you know, it is a sports sedan. It's not trying to be a sports car. And it does the job. But speaking of doing the job, that's almost all you get from the gearbox. I think that's the one big chink in its armor. I mean, out in traffic, I have to say, no real complaints. But it's when you bring it out here to the track that you start to see what's missing. It's just not quick enough. It doesn't keep pace with the rest of what's happening on this drivetrain. Even when you use the paddle shifters, not quick enough.
But I have to admit, a part of me wanted the Stinger GT to make more noise in sport mode. Speaking of which, there are too many modes on this car.
You've got the different drive modes, but I have to say, the car and the driver are happiest in sport mode.
Truth be told, all those modes are not a whole lot different from each other. Sport mode is where it stays its stiffest and its noisiest, and that's where I kept it here at the Buddh circuit. Out on the road though, I had tried the other modes.
The cabin on the Stinger is what really impresses a lot of people. Now, you could have had better quality when it comes to leather or plastics, but really what you expect from a brand like Kia, this completely knocks you out, because you've got a lot, not just in terms of layout, style, design and materials, but also in terms of lots of tech, lots of gadgets. So a really nice digital screen here, about 7 inches, that gives you a whole lot of information that's between the two dials, and the drive modes you're in, the exterior temperature. I mean, there's just a whole lot in there, including a really nice trip computer. The big screen here is a floating style, and it's almost a little difficult to reach when you're driving, which is good from a safety point of view, which means you can't really fiddle with it too much. But again, packed with a whole lot, and the fact that it's a touchscreen, an intuitive one, is also very nice. There's Apple CarPlay, and then of course that screen also tells you the different drive modes. There's a little knob down here that lets you access them. You start with the default, which is comfort. You can go up to sport, and then of course individual or custom, as it's called here, which is the one that lets you completely customize things as per your liking. But there's also eco, where everything kind of dulls out and becomes really boring to drive, but gives you better fuel efficiency. And then there's something called smart. I have to talk about that because that's something new, and frankly it's a nice idea. I'm not sure it really works very well. I haven't spent too much time with the car yet to be able to really judge that. But what it does is it actually responds to your driving style. So it will give you the most optimal, the most efficient performance without taking away anything that you want from your kind of drive. And so that, I think, is something that could really catch on.
The red leather is a nice change to the usual black, though the Stinger is offered with both those options internationally. The Stinger GT certainly looks the part of a high-end, well-built performance sedan. The proportions, lines and styling scream quality, and it's in the face that you will find it at its very sexy best.
At the back, it's got that typical GT-like profile. It's not a sedan technically, because it's a lift back or a sport back in Audi speak, because that is a bit of a hatch at the back there, but the roofline certainly looks nice. Now this, some people might find it a bit cheesy, but a little metallic finish there adds to the sporty element, if you will, on those mirrors. And then you've got all the other sporty elements as well that have been thrown in for good measure. In the front is where the car is its most attractive for sure. Really sexy headlamp. The tiger nose grille with an almost Mercedes-like finish also looks pretty cool.
Yes, the front grille has the same diamond-like effect as the previous A-Class and the AMG GT. The double J daytime running light graphic is a bit Jaguar-like, but the grille shape is unmistakably the Kia trademark tiger nose. And like those mirrors, it's finished in the smoky bronze-like finish. The car looks very stylish, is well finished, and certainly looks more high-end than what you'd expect from the Kia badge. flagship product for the Korean brand. The Kia Stinger GT is a very capable, cleverly designed and well-built sports sedan. And it truly lives up to Kia's overall tagline, the power to surprise, pun intended. The car will impress you enough to want one, and maybe, just maybe, you might be able to get one sometime soon. At least, I hope so.
So will Kia bring the Stinger to India? Well, that's $1 million question, and frankly, no final decisions on that from the company. Should it bring the Stinger to India? Yes, a very, very strong yes, and I have several reasons for saying that. Not only will it be a great flagship, and it shouldn't be the first launch, it should probably be the third or the fourth launch, but it could really set a different kind of benchmark here in India for people who want a sports sedan and can't afford the ones that are currently available. So we're talking about taking on the likes of the Audi S5. That would be the chief target, but at a much lower price, maybe about 55 lakh rupees. That could be very interesting for a car like this.